Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now. In your eyes lie the secrets I don't wanna miss. Put your
Well, naturally, something's going to happen. You put the vibe out to 30 million chicks, something's bound to happen. That's the idea, right? That's the attitude. The attitude? The attitude dictates. You don't care if she comes, lays, stays, or prays. Whatever happens, your toes are still tapping. Okay? When you have that, you have the attitude. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I didn't see you there. Excuse me. I was just doing a little light reading. But since you're here, and since it's Saturday, let's continue our tradition of doing Saturday reviews. Excuse me. Let me put my pipe down and safety first. Make sure it's out. Okay, put that down. Okay, there we go. Okay, and since you're here, let's review. I have two movies here to review for you that I watched this morning. And first movie is called The Boondock Saints. Okay, and the other movie is Coraline. Let's talk about Boondock Saints first. Okay, this movie is a sort of a cult classic. It's basically the story of two Irish brothers, played by Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery, who plays Connor McManus, and Norman Reedus plays Murphy McManus. And they're Irish guys growing up in Boston, and when their friend gets involved, their friend named Rocco gets, they get into a bar fight where basically they wind up killing a bunch of Russians, and of course they get investigated, and it's found that they acted in self-defense, and they basically become heroes to the, to the regular people, and they take it as a sign. They're very religious. They take it as a sign that God wants them to eradicate all the bad guys, from Boston. Basically, all the bad guys, guys that have, guys in the mob, and they, decided to take on the mob, basically. Okay, and also starring in this movie is William Dafoe, who plays Paul Smecker. He's an FBI agent who investigates, of course, the first murder that the McManuses commit, and of course, he interviews them, and he kind of admires them, that they and he's a very intelligent guy, Paul Smecker, and William Dafoe is absolutely outstanding in this movie. This movie starts a little slow, and then it kind of picks up, when the violence starts. But William Dafoe is absolutely insane, as like I said, he's the FBI agent who figures out, after the first crime that the Boondock Saints, the McManuses commit, and he finds them, they let them go without charging because they find it's in self-defense, and then they start killing mobsters, and Paul Smecker, William Dafoe, starts investigating, and he is absolutely, first of all, he's hysterical, and he's intelligent, and he's absolutely, this movie has a nice blend of kind of black humor and great violence, and like I said, the McManus, Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus, they have a nice chemistry as brothers, and so they start, they start killing, with the aid of their friend Rocco, played by David Dealer Rocco, who's I think this is like a first-time actor for him in this. No, not first-time acting. I was looking at the behind-the-scenes thing, but this part was basically written for him by the, by the writer and director, and like I said, they have nice chemistry. Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus as the brothers. McManus and the level of violence they unleash is outstanding. Great violence. In particular, there's a scene, that first, I guess their first major killing, where they actually go into a hotel room, and without specifically explaining exactly how they do, they unleash a hell of hell of a violence. And what I like also is when William Dafoe, you know, he's like I say, he's the FBI agent that comes to investigate it, and he breaks everything down, and then they show, then they go back and show you exactly how they did it. And William Dafoe is actually classic. And there's a great scene where they go out to this house in the suburbs to kill a guy that Rocco wants them to kill. He's a real bad guy, basically a mob killer. And they go to kill him, and there's a great shootout and while the shootout, the shootout happens, and then the cops come later to investigate it, and then they have William Dafoe kind of act out what, he acts out simultaneously. They show the McManuses doing the violence, and they actually show William Dafoe like side by side with them, reenacting this, and you have to see that scene to believe it. It's just great acting on William Dafoe's part. Like he's acting out everything while they're actually showing you what the McManus are doing. Okay, and so soon after that, with all this, with them taking on the mob, the mob goes and gets a killer. They break, that they get paroled out of prison. A killer who was sentenced to 25 years to life, played by Billy Connolly, and he basically comes after the boys. And I don't want to tell you exactly what happens after that, because I think that keys into but there's a great scene at the end of this movie in the courtroom where the McManus dispense justice, and I love the quotes that they use when they get ready to dispense the justice that they're going to the head mob guy. It's absolutely a beautiful scene the way it plays out, and I love the back and forth between the McManus, and I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but this is like a cult movie, so maybe you have seen it already. But I love the Boondock Saints, and I just watched the trailer for the second part, so I'm gonna have to get to the second part of this movie, the sequel to this. And like I said, this has become a cult classic, and I can see why now. Like I said, it started off slow, but then it picked up and it took off. And like I said, special mention to William Dafoe, who's absolutely fantastic as FBI agent Paul Smecker. He's absolutely great. And like I said, Sean Patrick Flanery and Norman Reedus have good chemistry, as the McManus. So it's really definitely a movie worth picking up. Now, the next movie that I want to review is Coraline. This is an animated movie, and as you can see from here, it says Academy Award nominee for Best Animated Feature, okay, in 2009. Okay, and Coraline is basically the story of a young girl, Coraline, who moves into an old house with her mother and father, and she feels bored and neglected because her parents, her father's an author, I think, and the mother is like, she's also writing a book, I think, about flowers and stuff. So they really have no time for her. They basically leave her to her own devices, and so she's bored and feels neglected. And she discovers in the old house a hidden room that was bricked up, and she gets the key, and it takes her to a parallel world where, in this world, it's a house similar to her house, but in this house, her parents actually pay attention to her. And the mother in that house actually spoils her rotten and gives her everything she wants, and they spend time together. And then it suddenly takes a turn, okay? Takes a little sinister turn in this alternate reality when the mother in that dimension wants her to stay forever, okay? And first of all, the animation in this, I love the stop animation. This is by the same guy who did The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I love the visuals of this animated movie. It's absolutely fantastic. There's a great couple of sequences where it just looks outstanding. It looks beautiful on Blu-ray. And also the voice work is good in this by Dakota Fanning. She plays young Coraline. And I think Terry Hatcher plays the mother. Okay, and just a very interesting. And this is not a typical kid movie. It gets sort of dark too in this. Just so forewarned, in case you want to let a young kid watch this. This is not like a kiddie thing. This, even though it stars a young child in the movie, but it takes a really sinister turn in the movie when she gets to the alternate world and stuff. So just be forewarned in case you want to, show your kids this movie. Okay, it gets kind of creepy and dangerous. Okay, but it's a very entertaining movie and visually absolutely beautiful. So I definitely would highly recommend this. And there's the back. Okay, and just a great job by the director of Nightmare Before Christmas. Coraline, definitely a movie worth getting. So that's my reviews for Saturday of Boondock Saints. Definitely highly recommend this. A great cult movie. and I can see now that I've seen it, why it's become a cult movie. Okay, great performances by William Dafoe and Sean Patrick Flanery and Norman Reedus, okay, and Billy Connolly in a supporting role. And also Coraline, definitely a nice animated feature, beautiful, like I said, nice scary story. Be forewarned if you want to show it to young kids, because it gets kind of dark, especially when she gets to the alternate world and stuff. But it's definitely an entertaining movie, definitely worth getting, and looks absolutely beautiful on Blu-ray. Okay, so that's my recommendations, and since this is to the end, let me know what you think of those titles. Feel free to leave your comments down below. And this is Trepacer saying so long and take care. And I'm gonna get back to my my reading. Okay, my reading. Woo.